Small feet, going the wrong way. He said it to himself, to his camel dust, to the desert that had been his only consistent company for 3 years. He had stopped on the ridge because the light was changing, and he always stopped when the light changed over the Aldrin Flats. It was the best hour, the gold hour, when the sand showed everything. He had been looking at nothing in particular when the footprints appeared in his view. Small, irregular, the specific pattern of a child walking without a destination, turning to follow whatever caught the eye. His name was Colt Marin, 38 years old. He led small group desert tours, 4 to 6 people, 2 days, the kind of experience that required someone who understood the desert as a place you could be safe in if you knew what you were doing, and lost in very quickly if you didn't. He followed the prince. She was sitting behind a sandstone outcrop, 4 years old, in a yellow hat that had been doing its job against the afternoon sun with apparent effectiveness. She was not crying. She was watching a beetle cross the sand with the focused attention of someone conducting important research. He brought Dust to a stop. He crouched down. "That's a dung beetle," he said. "They're very strong, strongest creature on earth for their size." The girl looked up from the beetle. She assessed him with the full, unhurried directness of a 4-year-old, who has not yet learned to be anything but accurate about what she sees. "I followed a bird," she said. "I know," he said. "I followed your footprints." "Are you the finding person?" "I'm Colt," he said, "and yes, I think that's what I am today." She looked at the beetle. "His name is Gerald," she said. "I gave it to him," he said. She said, with the authority of someone settling a point. She was 4 years old, and she had been on a family trip to the Aldrin Desert with her mother, when a particular bird, small, swift, moving fast along the ground, had led her away from the tour group, and behind the outcrop, and into the acquaintance of Gerald the dung beetle. She had been missing for 40 minutes. He lifted her onto Dust with the practiced ease of a man who has put many people onto camels, and the specific care of someone who understands that this particular person is 4 years old and has important ongoing research in progress. He let her keep watching Gerald until Gerald disappeared into a crack in the rock. "Goodbye, Gerald," she said seriously. He turned Dust back toward the tour camp. "Are you scared?" he asked. She thought about it. "I was for a little bit," she said. "Then I found Gerald and I wasn't." "Gerald was good company," he said. "He was very focused," she said approvingly. He didn't stop. He looked at the desert moving past them in the gold light, and thought that this 4-year-old had just described, without knowing it, the quality he had been trying to cultivate in himself for 3 years. Her mother was at the edge of the camp when they came over the ridge. He saw her before she saw them, standing very still at the perimeter, the particular stillness of a parent who has stopped moving, because moving has stopped helping. Then she saw the yellow hat on Dust's saddle, and the stillness became something different entirely. She was 34 years old, and she covered the 50 meters between them in the time it takes a person who has been afraid to stop being afraid. She lifted Rue down and held her with the complete full-bodied grip of a mother who has just been given something back. Rue endured this for 4 seconds, and then said, "I found a beetle, Mama. His name is Gerald." Her mother laughed, the specific laugh of someone whose relief has taken the only form available. She looked at Colt over Rue's shoulder. "Thank you," she said. Her face said the rest. "She was behind the south outcrop," he said. 40 meters. She was fine. "I know," the woman said. "That's what's making me cry." Her name was Sloan Vare, CEO of Vare Textile, a company she had built from a regional operation into a national brand over 8 years, during the last 3 of which she had been doing it alone, after her husband had made a decision she had not been part of, and which she had spent considerable time learning to live around, rather than through. She had brought Rue and her parents on this trip, because Rue had asked about deserts, and because saying yes to Rue's questions had become, in the past 2 years, the organizing principle of her better decisions. She had not expected to lose her daughter behind a sandstone outcrop. She had not expected the man who found her to crouch down to Rue's level and talk about beetles with the same seriousness Rue applied to them. She had not expected to feel, standing at the edge of a desert camp at 6 in the evening, that the 40 most terrifying minutes of her year had ended in the most human possible way. He stayed for the campfire, not because it was his job. His job had been the tour, and the tour was over, but because Rue had asked him to tell her more about the desert animals, and he had found he wanted to, and because Sloane's parents, who were warm and curious people, had made space at the fire without making an occasion of it. Rue fell asleep against her grandmother's shoulder at 8 o'clock, mid-sentence about whether Gerald would find his family. Sloane and Colt sat at the edge of the fire after the others had settled. "She said you talked about the beetle," Sloane said. "Gerald," he said. "She named him. She names everything," she said. "It's how she makes the world friendly." He looked at the fire. "Smart approach," he said. She was quiet for a moment. "Year-round. 3 years," he said, "since my wife passed. She received this without making it difficult." "Is it quiet?" she said. "Very," he said. "I needed quiet for a while." He paused. "Less now." She looked at the desert, the dark, the stars, the particular quality of night air that has no city in it. "She asked me to bring her here because she wanted to see the stars without buildings," she said. "She said they'd be bigger." "They are," he said. She looked up. They were. They sat at the edge of the fire for a while, in the comfortable quiet of two people who have nothing to perform for each other, and no particular reason to fill the silence. Before the camp wound down, he said, "If you come back through Aldrin, there's a morning tour at 7 that shows the beetle habitat, Gerald's territory, roughly." She looked at him. "Is that an invitation?" "It's information," he said. "What you do with it is yours." She smiled. "We'll come in the spring," she said. "Rue will hold you to the beetles. I'll hold Gerald to being findable," he said. She laughed again. The real kind, the unhurried kind, the kind that had been somewhere inside the year and had been waiting for the right fire and the right quiet and the right man who followed small footprints in the gold hour, because that was simply what you did when you saw them. Follow the small footprints. Name the beetle. Sit at the fire without an agenda. Kindness finds its way into the largest deserts through the smallest, most patient acts of paying attention. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.